In section 2.1.18, on the basis of population survey, there were 92.7 million males and 111.9 million females 25 years old or older in a certain country. The educational attainment of the males and females is shown below in the table. We want to complete parts A through B. So the first column here is the educational attainment, not in high school graduate, some college but no degree, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, advanced degree. We have males in millions, so you can see what the numbers are for that, and then females in millions. And so the first thing you want to do is be able to find the total of each column. So if we add up the total in the males in millions column, we're going to get 92.7 million. For the column for females, when we add those up, we're going to get 111.9 million. Part A wants us to construct a relative frequency distribution for males. So in order to do that, the relative frequency is a proportion or percent of observations within a category and is found by using the formula below. It's the frequency over the sum of all frequencies. So for the first category, for the not a high school graduate, was 15.3 million. We're going to divide that by 92.7 and we get a total of 0.1650, and therefore that would be our first item in the relative frequency for the males. And then we would look at the next number, which is 25.1, divide that by 92.7, which gives us 0.2708, and therefore that would represent the proportion or relative frequency for males for high school graduate. Then if we go to some college but no degree, we get 17.2, divide that by the total 92.7, which gives us 0.1855, and therefore that's going to be the proportion or the relative frequency for males for some college but no degree. And then you're going to do the same for the next three. You get 11.3, divide that by 92.7, 15.1, divide that by 92.7, and 8.7 divided by 92.7. And therefore that gives us a relative frequency distribution for the males. For part B, they want us to construct a relative frequency distribution for females. So now we're going to use the total amount for that column, which is 111.9. So we're going to take and repeat kind of what we did for the frequency distribution for males. So we're going to take the first item, which is 17.4 for the females, and divide that by the total, which is 111.9, and that gives us 0.1555. Okay, for the next category, which is 32.7, which is the high school graduate in the female column, divide that by 111.9, and we get 0.2922. And then we would repeat it for each other value to then get the relative frequency distribution for females. Now the next question says that a relative frequency bar graph is constructed by labeling each category of data on either the horizontal or vertical axis and the relative frequency of the category on the other axis. Rectangles of equal width are drawn for each category, and the height of each rectangle represents the category's relative frequency. So to construct a side-by-side relative frequency bar graph, you represent relative frequencies for males with bars on the left and relative frequencies for females on the right above each category. You're going to place the bars that represent the same education level next to each other. So this is the answer for that. But what I want to do is I want to show you how to do this on Statcrunch. So again, I'm going to go to the particular problem that we were dealing with. And so over here, I'm going to click on the icon to view the table of educational attainment data for the country. And then in the top right corner, you can see that click to copy table. And again, we want to be able to choose open in Statcrunch. So we're going to go ahead and open it in Statcrunch. And it's going to go ahead and bring all the data in from that example. So you can see that it's bringing all the data in correctly from Statcrunch. So now we're going to go ahead and then create our side-by-side bar graph from summarized data. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select graph, as I noted here. Okay, and then the next part, we're going to go down to where it says chart, and then we're going to select columns. So now once we've done that, now we want to be able to then select the column that we want to put into our bar graph. Now since this is side by side, we're going to go ahead and hit Control for the next one to make sure that they are both selected. So you got to make sure you use the Control button to make sure that both are selected in this box. Okay, now the where is optional. Okay, now the row labels, well, we can label them according to the educational attainment, which is what the categories were. And then we're going to order it by worksheet. That's how it was given in the problem. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to plot this using vertical bars. Now we can do horizontal bars as well, but since the solutions or the multiple choice questions are giving you to them in vertical bars, we're going to go ahead and select the option for that. Now we don't want it stacked because it's going to stack on one another. We want to be able to use the vertical bars where it says split. And again, over here to your right, you can see what I've put in there. Okay. And then below it says color scheme, 7 colors. We can decide if we want to do that or not. We can leave it as it is. And then the x-axis label, we can put in education level. And then for the y-axis, it's a relative frequency distribution. And then from here, we're going to compute. And if you notice here, this is our relative frequency distribution side-by-side bar graph that represents that graph. And then in part D, it says compare each gender's educational attainment. So you're going to use that graph and compare those two bars in the education level. And notice that there does not appear to be a substantial difference between the pairs of bars in the graph above.